This video is going to show you a solo flawless shattered throne dungeon during the season of the Rising on a Warlock. For those that just want to see that, then skip the timestamps. Other than that, I can quickly show you what I had on. So when you solo this dungeon, you'll be rewarded with the Eternal Return emblem. It does not need to be flawless, however it does need to be solo. That's what the emblem looks like. I'm sure veteran players will know all about that. In terms of the setup itself, we're using Voidwalker, Nova Bomb, Cataclysm, Heal and Rift, Vortex Grenade. Aspects are Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, Fragments are Echo of Undermining, Echo of Remnants, Echo of Expulsion. Pairing that with the exotic Gauntlets Contraverse Hold for the Vortex Grenade build. As for weapons, the kinetic slot, we don't switch, we use the exotic Grain Launcher Witherhoard the entire time. For the power weapon, we use Threaded Needle, a linear fusion rifle, the entire time, which has auto-run holster. And then for the energy weapon, we use Aisha Embrace for long-range engagements, and then when we're close quarters, we use Funnel Web, both void weapons, because it plays to the build. Take and spec on all your weapons. If you don't have take and spec, then put boss spec in your heavy weapon at the very least, and then with your energy weapons, have a backup mag, or whatever you want to do, major spec, just whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter for the energies, I guess. So for the setup itself, we're using a hybrid build, high energy fire / elemental well build. So the helmet has Font of Might, the gauntlets has Volatile Flow, the chestplate has high energy fire, the boot has elemental ordnance, and the bond has elemental charge. So every time we get elemental wells via our grenade, we then get charged with light, right, with high energy fire. So we get a 20% weapon damage bonus. We also get Volatile Flow, which affects void weapons, and Font of Might, which also affects void weapons. So that's essentially the build. Other perks on my armor, like Ashes to Assets on the helmet, increased super regen on grenade kills. Ammo finders, grenade launcher loader is recommended because Witherhoard has a slow reload. It does have auto-load holster, but you'll be spamming it quite a bit. Resistance mods, I went Thermoshock Plate and Concussive Dampener. Scavenger on the boots, and on the bond I didn't have much to put on, so I put a bomber and a distribution on, and yes, they do stack, so you're getting the ability regen there when you cast your rift. We do switch this build out. As I said, we end up switching that to Funnel Web for the energy slot, but we also switch our setup. When we get to the final boss, we go Stormcaller, top tree Stormcaller, we Pulse Grenade, Heal and Rift. The exotic helmet called Crown of Tempests, which I'll talk about in the run itself. And like I said, we just switch out. And no, I'm not messing around when I do that. This is like one of the best strats for the final boss itself. But as I said, for the most part, we're on the Voidwalker. So that's the setup I used. So as we start the run, we'll make our way to the opening encounter. The opening encounter is essentially just quite a large map. It's like its own city type thing, and you just navigate through that, look at the symbols, and then show the symbol to the designated slot to kill some taken enemies, ultra, and then to keep doing that, rinse and repeat until you to the final symbol. Now there's a lot of if you look up online and you haven't played Shattered Throne, maybe you started after Forsaken and you've never bothered to play this dungeon. There's actually maps, people have put maps up of this entire thing. But if you know nothing about your map awareness, then just come in and explore. And just do your best, but I'm not saying you'll flawless it straight away. If you've never ever done it before. If you've got an idea, then this isn't much of a problem. So our first symbol is double fish, I believe, so double fish is right side. So I just know all the symbols off by heart. I'm not going to go through all the symbols and tell you where they are. Like I said, it's more of, you would need to sort of get your bearings with that, or look up a map. There's plenty of maps online about it. So this, on double fish, it's a sniper, I believe. All the ultras are different. So I know all the different ultras. Some of them are phalanxes, some of them are solar knights. Some of them are like snipers, some of them are the scions. But the setup I'm using makes it very easy because the ads are clustered. So Witherhoard's really good for ad clear. Your grenade is very good for ad clear. Obviously we've got Devour, so we can chain kill Devour and be really safe about it. I recommend taking out these 2 or 3 snipers up above. I always generally do, but those are the only snipers I really take out in the entire starting section. It's just because they snipe at you while you're dealing with the Ultra on this section, which is an invisible Minotaur. We use our super because you just want to keep spamming your supers as much as possible. It's there to use. You get them back really quick. And no, I'm not geared for intellect. It's just the mechanics of the game now, how it works. You get super based on the damage you receive and you take. So make sure you're spamming supers, because when you're solo you get plenty of supers, because obviously all the adds are to yourself. Right, there's no one to sort of steal your kills and stuff. So we've got a phalanx. This is oh sorry, this is double fish. The other side was single fish, my bad. Pick up any elemental wells when you get them, because obviously that's what the build's based around. And if you are going to do this dungeon, this is a good build to do, because the volatile rounds make short work of adds when they're clustered. The Font of Might helps with your void weapons, and then on top of all that, you get a 20% weapon damage bonus from high energy fire when paired with elemental charge. This comes key later on, not right now. It's not something that's really benefiting me right now. I mean, it's okay, you know, but obviously I'm gonna keep losing the high energy fire when I kill one red bar ad, obviously. But when we get to the boss, I'll manipulate it and make the best of high energy fire. Okay, so this is a sniper here, the Scion, not the Scion, the Taken Sniper, sorry. This is Tower of the Sky. Now, the symbol wasn't appearing. Why is that? Well, because the Acolytes actually went outside. Generally, that doesn't happen. I don't know why they went outside. So, the spawn to get the next symbol is based on the Acolytes, and the Acolyte eyes, and the Ultra. It's not based on any other adds that's like outside that area. Like, these Scions, they're not, or the Thrall, they're not decided by the spawn. Right, so he's the Acolytes outside. I don't know why. Generally that doesn't happen. I guess they've teleported out there, because that seems to be a common thing. So now we've got our symbol up. It's Dragon, so I know where Dragon is. It's at the very start. And that Ultra is a Knight. As I said, you don't need to be super conscious, especially on this setup. It's easily the best setup for the entire dungeon. I would say the Warlock. I mean, all of them are good at it. The Hunter's good for certain aspects of invis and stuff, and even Remnant. Remnant's really good at the final boss. The Titan's maybe the least favourite for this dungeon, whereas on Grasp of Avarice it's my favourite. I'm not saying the Titan's bad in this dungeon, definitely not. Thunder Crash does really well and stuff like that, but because of how easy it is just to activate with your Warlock and just more damage everything, and then Hunter for the, you know, the tether and stuff. The Titan's not as good as... I've done runs on the Titans. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, he hasn't done a run. I've done runs on the Titan. I've done loads. So if you want to see the Titan run, then you just look it up on my channel. Right? It's all there. I've done not just one season, not just 2 seasons, loads and loads of seasons. Because these dungeons basically carry the channel when there's nothing going on Destiny-wise. This is what we do. Right, in terms of, not only that, it gets requested. I try and do a couple of requests when people ask me, but not all of them. You know, some people might ask very specific things for me to do with these dungeons, and I do and I don't, because I don't want to burn myself out with these, because I do get bored of these dungeons because I've played them for such a long time. However, I am eager to play them when it's the start of a new season. This season we haven't had a chance because Witch Queen came out. I wasn't playing any of the dungeons. Obviously, why would you? You've got a lot of stuff on. You know, the new raid came out, the legendary campaign, all the new missions, Vox Obscura, you know, all that sort of stuff. So the dungeon wasn't the first thing on my mind, obviously. So that's why dungeon videos are laid out this season. Next season it won't be. Hopefully we get a debuff mod. I want a debuff mod next season. I think they're going to give us it. I think we didn't get one for Witch Queen because the new raid came out and they would spam it. So if it was a rocket launcher debuff mod, it would have been abused in the raid, so I understand that. But I think they're going to do one Because we had Breach and Clear, then we had Particle Deconstruction back to back, which were really good mods. Then we had Witch Queen, didn't get one. I mean, we kind of did with the Void 3.0, but that's intrinsic to the class. So I hope we get one next season. If we do, as I say, I'll be able to run the dungeons will be more interesting. Because it always is with like a debuff mod. I know they're OP, but they're interesting, and that's what I like about them. So with this section here, you've got one ultra to take out a couple of snipers, some invisible minotaurs. I like to fight from here at first. I'm going to show you this scout rifle, showcase it because it's very good. I think I've got, I can't remember, virtual motion 4 times the charm, or triple tap one. I think it's 4 times the charm. It's a very good scout rifle. This. I'm farming a couple of rolls. I mean, I can't really be bothered playing trials this weekend, but maybe next weekend I'll do it. It's a weapon to farm for PvE because of its archetype. It's a fast fire scout rifle, which they are good. They're very good in PvE actually. They're unique as well. So this one's very unique, and it's very accurate, and it's got the Trials Origin perk, Elasticity, whatever the hell it's called, right? You can see it on the left hand side. So. But anyways, that perk's a solo perk because it says when you're solo you get increased reload and stuff. It's insane, the reload on it, even if you don't have any reload perks on the gun, you get that to proc when you're solo. When you're in a team it doesn't proc obviously, unless they're dead. Unless I think both fire team members are dead or whatever. But when you're solo it's always procced. So it's a huge thing. This scout rifle's really good, one of the best scouts in the game actually. If you've got a good vouchsafe, which I have, I'm sure you know that, I always use vouchsafe, then use that. If you, whatever scout rifle you want to use, if you want to use the new scout, you know, the one with the adaptive munitions, obviously you wouldn't need that for this because there's no shields, but there's other rolls that you can get on that. You can use that scout rifle, it's high impact. Personally, I don't really enjoy that scout. I actually do like it on barriers. I love it on barriers, not so much on elemental shields. It doesn't do as good as you'd think in GMs, but it's really good on GM barrier champs, I must admit that. 2-3 shot a barrier on GM, and the nerf and Boundless and stuff, but they will, I know the nerf and Boundless, but it's still going to be usable. But it is an option, that scout. But again, it depends on if it's anti-barrier scout next season. It won't be, they'll change it up. So I'm just showing off the scout rifle here. You can skip this entire section with using a Roman Super, so you can go on Nova Warp, Top 3 Dawnblade, you name it, any Roman Super you can skip it. But I'm just here just to show off this scout rifle a bit more. Since the run's not that long anyways, there's not much to shatter from, so since I've got this scout on, I may as well use it in one of the areas where it's you can actually see, you know, it being used. Obviously it's full auto, very stable. Really good reload, 4 times the charm, procs a lot. I know it's not got a damage dealing thing, but as I said, it's a very fun scout to use, so I actually enjoyed it. So let's take out the remaining ads. The next section is going to be the ogres. You can also skip that zone. I've done loads of runs where you skip the entire thing, use, you know, Dawnblade, top tree, use the Icarus dash, use the sword, hug the left hand side wall. Like, don't comment and say, oh, you should have done that. I know all about it, we've been doing it for years, but for this run I just wanted to use the scout on the ogres. That's what I wanted to do, just use the scout, so at least I'm getting something out of the video itself, because as I said. But we are doing a Shattered Front to round it out, because I've done 3 dungeons so far. I haven't done all the classes this season, because as I said, it's been a hectic season sort of thing, so I haven't had much chance with the dungeons until the last 2-3 weeks. So I'm not going to do all 3 subclasses on all 4 dungeons. Not this season. I'll round out. I don't know if this is my last dungeon run. It might be. Depends, unless I get an idea. Just depends. Might do Master Grasp solo potentially because I'm at power for it. So I might do that. Just see how I feel on it as we go on. I need to farm it, to be honest. So there's that. But for the most part, at least I've got all 4 out. This season at the very least. Just be careful with these ogres that they don't stomp you. They can stomp you off map, so don't get too close to them. This zone's all about you, designed for you to fall off. Okay, it's designed that you've got to be careful with it. Now the ogres have different rotations. Wherever the taken blights go, the ogre spawns on the opposite pillar. But it's RNG which pillar has the taken blights. So taken blights to my right, ogre spawns to my left. It is just random. But don't get too close because those taken blight ball things, they can just hit you off map. And that can cost you your flawless, and it's not CP based, so you will spawn back at the checkpoint before this. There's actually no checkpoint for this ogre section here, so it puts you back a ways. There's no raid banners here as well, so you notice I'm not using much heavy, not that I really need to, so to speak. With this linear, because of my build, you only really need, I would say, 2 to 3 mags. Probably 2.5 mags for the first ogre boss, and then for the final boss, you literally only need 2 mags because we're going to utilize a debuff, which is Echo of Undermining, which is intrinsic to Void 3.0. So that debuffs the enemy, and we're also going to use high energy fire, which is a weapon damage bonus. It doesn't affect your super, nothing. It's specifically for just your weapons, a 20% bonus. So that's stacking with Echo of Undermining, which allows you solo wise to one cycle both bosses. Now they've actually buffed the final boss. The ogre fight is exactly the same since he launched. Pretty much that fight's the same, which a lot of people either love or hate it. There's no in between with it, I've noticed. But the final boss, Incaru, if you didn't know, in this game wizards have a precision multiplier, right? I can't remember if it's 2 times or whatever it is, but whatever it was last season, it's now different. They've actually reduced the precision modifier bonus on Incaru. Now that might be all wizards, I don't know. I'm not here to test it out either. I'm not going to go and research that because I'm not too fussed. See, what you've got to realise with me is I'm not too fussed about numbers. I'm more a generalist. So if someone says, right, they've nerfed that boss, or have they? Right, is the one cycle still doable? Yeah, alright, that's all I need to know. I don't go into the numbers of stuff too much. I'm more of a visual guy, okay, with this game. I know there's a lot of people do DPS tests, this, that and the other. I seen a guy do a solo Shattered Throne like at the start of the season, and he'd mentioned that the boss was harder to solo one cycle, and that's because they reduced the precision multiplier on the boss, and they didn't say anywhere, or not that I'm aware of. I don't know if they've said it in a patch note where they've reduced the precision multiplier on wizards in general. I think they maybe have, because I think it's applicable to the Scarlet Keep boss. I've noticed them doing less damage to that one as well, which is also in the realm of Destiny. It's classed as a wizard. So wizard type enemies, as I say, they're weak to precision damage. Just it's less now, and I would say to all enemies, wizard type. There should be somewhere in the game where there's like a bio of enemies where it tells you their weaknesses and what they're immune to. Also, not immune, but their weaknesses and their strengths. There should be somewhere you go in the game and you look at enemy types and stuff. Like, this is an RPG game. RPG games possess that. I don't know why something like that isn't in the game. Because there's some enemies that are weakened to explosive damage. There's some enemies like are weakened to Warcliffe Coil. Because they're maybe classed as a vehicle, like Sepix Prime. He's a vehicle type enemy. Yeah? But he's also a boss. So, I don't know why there's nothing in the game. Like, we have to go on YouTube and people have to work it all out. You know, there's a lot of stuff sort of missing in the game, like stuff like that. I would love in the game where it's something in your in the close to the triumph section or something. Anyways, this is the ogre boss. So people struggle with the ogre boss till this day. Ever since it came out, there's still people say they can't get past this section. It's niggling them for whatever reason. So this, if you've been spending that amount of time on it, like over a year, you know, then you maybe want to consider Warlock. If you're a Hunter main or a Titan main and you're not doing it on those classes, I would consider doing it on your Warlock. Because you've got Devour. I mean, you've got Devour on all 3, but Devour's more accessible on the Warlock, let's be honest. Because it's just via void abilities, you don't need Orbs of Light and stuff. So what I do for this is you want to focus the enemies. Don't kill the wizards. Now you can accidentally kill the wizard, like I end up killing the wizard accidentally here. You'll see in a minute. Try not to do that. You want to focus all four corners of the room, right? And killing all the snipers. Now I accidentally finished the wizard. I was meant to finish the other enemy, so when you kill that wizard, you get the petitioner's mark. You get 42 seconds. That then refreshes for each next petition mark you get. There's 4, obviously. So you've got plenty of time, you know, if you end up doing it like this. But it is recommended take out all the ads first. To the next stage, actually, even get all the wizards weak, like finishable. Then start killing them, getting the petitioner's mark. Because that way you can take your time with it. But as I said, I accidentally killed them, but I only had one section left, right? So it wasn't too bad. It's not like I killed the first wizard, which would have been a little bit more. But again, it doesn't matter. We've got Witherhoard, we've got our Contraverse whole build, which just deals with all the ads, and then we just keep getting our health regen. So we're on ×3 now. Notice we're charged with light, so I'm going to keep it. Now, if I get a finisher kill or a melee kill or any other kill other than a weapon, I keep charge of light. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to make sure I get my grenade and my super before we start boss damage. See that I've got Petitioner's Burden. I like it on this side. It's just I'm somebody who likes routine, and this is where I've always damaged the boss from. So we'll get our dunk. We'll do a Witherhoard shot, then immediately pull out your primary to take care of the blights, then grenade nova. Do a bit of linear shots, try and hit your crits. You might miss some because this boss is sort of what it is, it's the aim assist. So now I'm on console, so obviously these blights, these little blights, they have really strong aim assist, and it takes your can take your reticle away from the boss. But as you can see, if you're doing your swaps between your linear which has auto and holster, which I would actually recommend that if you have. But if you've got maybe a rapid hit Vorpal one or a rapid hit Frenzy roll on the linear, any linear that you like will work as long as you do in your swaps between, you know, Witherhoard and the heavy, and applying your debuff. So the debuff and the charge of light is enough to get the one cycle. Even if you miss, say, 3-4 crits like I did, you'll still get the one cycle. I believe it's a 30-second window. I think it's 30 seconds on this boss. Well, I done it in about 28 seconds. So I had 2 seconds left. So it is tight, you know, in terms of the damage, but it's there if you do the build. Yeah, I'm sure if I hit all my crits, it'll be way less time than that. So it's comfortable if you hit your crits. It's just this boss, he can knock you back and stuff and mess with your reticle. Now we've switched. So we haven't switched any weapon, anything. We've just switched our subclass. Like I said at the start of the video, we're going to go Stormcaller top tree with the exotic helmet, Crown of Tempests. Right, which is very good with top tree Storm. If you pop your super with full grenade and melee energy, your super will last longer. Makes it exceptional with this setup. So it just means that you can absolutely melt the knights because the super lasts so long. Like, don't sleep on Stormcaller. I know we haven't got Arc 3.0 yet, but Stormcaller's always been good. It's just not as good as what the Warlock's kit is. You know, because it's got top tree Dawnblade, which is like S+ tier. You got Voidwalker with Contraverse Hold, which is S+. You got Shadebinder. So Stormcaller has a lot of competition. That's why he is the worst. Obviously, Chaos Reach is slightly better, but in this case, this is better than Chaos Reach because it's allowing you to deal with knights and adds at the same time, which Chaos Reach, the super wouldn't last near enough of a time to get the benefit out of it. Because as I said earlier, right, Charge of Light is a weapon damage bonus. The only way for you to lose it is if you kill an ad with your gun. So we're not gonna. We're gonna use the super. We're gonna let the super basically kill all the knights and the scion. Therefore, when we get to boss damage, we have Charge of Light still, meaning we get the 20% weapon damage bonus. We can't debuff, but it's fine because we've got, I would say, as long as you've got 2 mags, so 12 bullets of your linear, which a bit of Witherhoard, then you're good. Right, what I'm going to do here is farm my super up. Just watch how quickly I get my super with the conduction times. Literally 2 grenades and a melee, and I'm there. I'm literally there with the arc web just chaining, and I've got my super, and that's as simple as that. Now we're going to do the skip. If you're going to do the skip, just pay attention. You jump on this rock, then up to the upper ring. If you're doing it without the Well of Radiance holding grenade or the Voidwalker, then you need to jump to the upper ring to make the jump, if you know what I'm talking about. Because you can hang if you hold a grenade where you want to consume, like on Well of Radiance or Voidwalker. You can have your jump last longer, but we're not on that class because I wanted my super beforehand so that we don't waste time. So if you do that, jump onto that upper ring and then right over. So all you need, as I said, 2 mags of heavy, a super. Do not use your grenade or your melee until you pop your super to make sure you get the increased duration of the super. And this strategy is so simple, you could do it every time. Very simple. There's nothing much to it. All we need to do is start with 3 Witherhoard shots, 1 on each one. Make sure you get the stick. Notice obviously with charge of light, so that's Witherhoard's going to do massive damage there. We're going to wait. Don't pop it just yet, just until they get a little closer. Then focus the Scions with your Stormcaller. Like, make sure every Scion's dead until you focus. Use a grenade now if you want while they're grouped up. All the free knights, it'll do massive damage to them. Keep doing your storm. Kill all 3 knights. Get the free finite fort ×3. Get rid of your super because you don't need it now, and then you can just do damage. So Witherhoard. Then we're just going to keep swapping between Witherhoard and our linear. And as you can see, it's enough. It's more than enough damage to get it done in the time. But that was the solo flawless for the Shattered Throne during the Season of Rising on a Warlock. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.